Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sonoma Raceway, where Shane Van Gisbergen is burning it down once again. Van Gisbergen, now an 8-time road course winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, ties Tony Stewart for second on that all-time list, trailing only Jeff Gordon, who accrued 9 career victories on road courses. It's amazing what Shane Van Gisbergen is doing. He swept Chicago last summer as well. The second time in his career, he walks into a road course, gentlemen, and pulls the sweep. What do you see from him, Jimmy? He's just remarkable.
He can manage an environment so well. And at first I thought maybe he was trying to pace himself against 19, suck the 19 into beating up his equipment. But in the end, he was just struggling. And on the brakes, I saw his car move around so much. And to manage all that, still pull it off, and then to beat up the rev limiter as he did there doing his burnouts was incredible.
It was so fun to watch you two sitting here at the desk, watch the end of the race. All of us were wondering if Chase Briscoe and that furious charge would be able to get to the rear bumper of Shane Van Gisbergen. He got close, Jamie, but not quite.
He did, and he's going to wish he could have turn one back with about 5 laps to go where he lost that extra second. Briscoe obviously had the best car at the end, and the thing that sticks out to me as you watch this is that SVG has been dominant, but the last couple of weeks, even though he's been in a position to be able to win, he's not just crushing everybody. It seems like that gap is closing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's hopeful for everybody watching that wants someone other than Shane to be able to win. But yeah, I mean, he was able to put it together. I heard, Dale Jr. say one more lap, like no one cares about one more lap. He was able to get it done, but awesome job by him to be able to manage that. And he didn't feel like he had a good car yesterday. Thought they made some good adjustments overnight, and they got it done.
One thing I was going to point out, I mean, I remember when we had road course ringers and the regulars had to get better. I would assume Shane is dragging this entire field into a better road course race.
Yeah, and I feel like as you talk to the drivers, they had almost lost hope, right? Like most of the guys are like, we're just never going to be able to beat him. But as you see today, and I felt like last weekend in San Diego, even though the 97 was quick, he wasn't as dominant as we have seen in the past. The gap's shrinking.
He's enjoying that wonderful championship goblet of wine right now. Jimmy, you tasted that wine in 2010. Jamie and I were talking about this during the pre-race, the mental tax that you feel as a race driver and an athlete when you get to the end of this, especially when somebody's all over you the way Briscoe was Van Gisbergen. How sweet is that moment right there for the 97 team?
Well, for me, in only winning one road course race, it was very, very sweet. For him, it's old hat. But when you're under pressure like that, this track requires a lot out of a driver, a lot of technical footwork that's required, and a couple big braking zones, and you're kind of holding your breath. So on his cool-down lap on the way in, you can see him exhale, loosens up the belts, big drink of whatever beverage, I guess Red Bull, that he had on the way in. But it takes a lot out of you.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, and listen, he has more pressure on him when we come to a road course than anybody else, because the expectation, if you're Red Bull or any of those partners, they get on a car at these tracks with the expectation that they're going to be able to win. So what he has going on over the weekend, I think, is different than what every other driver in the field has going on.
And again, 50% of the starts, he's gone to victory lane. It's absolutely incredible. And the guy that he held off on the closing laps of that race, Chase Briscoe, is standing by with Danielle Trotta. Danielle?
What a battle between Chase Briscoe and SVG down the stretch there. Chase, you got to his bumper. What was that like?
It was odd. Not very many people have been that close to him at the end of one of these road course races. Just frustrated with myself. I felt like I definitely had the better car. I didn't do as good of a job as he did driving. I just made a mistake with like 3 or 4 to go here, getting into one. I was having to push so hard, and that was where I'd make up my ground, and it was just such a razor's edge, and I about crashed and gave up. I don't know, called a second, and then was able to, obviously running back down at the end, just if I don't make that mistake, I'm probably ahead of him, I feel like, at the end. So yeah, just bummed that at the end of the day it was my fault we didn't win, but amazing car. James and the group just did an amazing job. I had a super fast Columbia Bank Toyota, so frustrated I didn't win with the best car, but yeah, the second you got to be absolutely perfect.
Speaking of frustrated, I would imagine, gentlemen, that Briscoe's teammate Denny Hamlin is walking away tonight knowing he let one get away. He had, after the second stage, ascended all the way to the points lead for the first time all year. It was the first time all season that Tyler Reddick wasn't the Cup Series points leader. He was 31 points clear at that moment. and he walks away with a 1-point lead. And the reason it's a 1-point lead, my friends, and not a 2-point lead, is Tyler Reddick had the fastest lap in the race and thereby earns 1 championship point. So we'll be heading to Chicago next weekend with Denny and a 1-point lead. But guys, there was a 30-point swing when Carson Hocevar ran the 11 car off the racetrack. So if you're Denny Hamlin, what do you take away from this, Jimmy? Because he had a great run going, but he goes home disappointed.
Yeah, I just reflect back on when Denny was here on the stage and his mindset of trying to be within 50 points. So I think he flies home and just thinks about it. Hey, I'm still within that window that I was looking for. And then he'll just continue to roll on.
I think he's just going to be furious at the situation because he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he's kind of minding his own business. I don't remember exactly how that played out, but I know Hocevar was a part of that, and he's going to be frustrated with that because he was going to have, a 30-point buffer heading into these next 8 or 9 races before the chase starts, possibly being the leader in that. I think he still has the momentum on his side, but Marty, for Denny to come into these 2 road courses and be able to beat Reddick in both of them, that's huge.
Oh, absolutely. And he would have never admitted that would be something he would have hopes of coming into him because Tyler is so good at those types of races, but he had trouble early on.
I'm surprised he didn't get back. Well, as far as Hamlin, I'm surprised he didn't get any further up in the running order as the race went on.
He was in a lot of traffic all day long. And we saw, Jamie, you and I were sitting there watching the race. There was a moment where Joey Logano was coming through the corner, and there was 25 cars.
Yeah, Joey had him stacked up at one
trying to get through.
Yeah.
So traffic very difficult today, but Shane Van Gisbergen and his team were able to manage all of it to go to victory lane. And Jamie?
Yeah. Well, one thing to keep in mind with Denny, and I know he's going to be frustrated tonight, but what would have really frustrated him is if he had not been able to get ahead of Ty Dillon. Because Denny's obviously, I
was wondering how that played out.
He's my pick to win this $1 million when we get through Indy. And it looked to me, if Ty Dillon doesn't have an issue with power steering towards the end of that race, Denny's not going to catch back up to him. And to me, that would have made the flight home and how upset you are at the situation just magnified.
Well, the Gibbs cars overall should be pretty happy. Briscoe, of course, finishes second. Ty Gibbs wins 2 stages, made a ton of stage points, and they had a really good day overall. So here you see it. We talked about it earlier. Shane Van Gisbergen now with 8 career road course victories, tying the legend, Hall of Famer Tony Stewart, with 8 career road course wins, trailing only Jeff Gordon, who has 9. Much more NASCAR Nation post-race ahead, including hanging out with that guy right there. Winner, Shane Van Gisbergen. What an incredible effort. Holds off Chase Briscoe to boot that ball into the grandstands.